have at this table Stocky Clark. Thank you so much for coming on, Executive Director of the Ronald McDonald House in New Haven. But you're also running one in Massachusetts.
Right.
What is the Ronald McDonald House for people who do not know?
Great question. Ronald McDonald House Charities is a combination of Ronald McDonald Houses and Ronald McDonald House Charities. So we merged the two. That's why I'm Executive Director of Ronald McDonald House Charities of Connecticut and Western Massachusetts. And what we do is we provide families who have children who are sick in the hospital or need care far away from home. We provide them with a home away from home. We try to take away all the problems that a family has so they can focus on their child in the hospital.
Is this free of cost?
It's basically free. We ask for a $15 donation, but more and more, frankly, the families come in with a shirt on their back. They come in an emergency situation, often with a premature birth baby or a child that needs a transplant, and so they just arrive. And
what is the history of this house? Take me all the way back. Was it 1985 or so?
Well, yes. We're celebrating the 30th year. Started by a whole group of people. Claire DiMartino is the founder. She's still here. She's still a volunteer. Every week, every Friday, she pulls her 3-hour shift, just like 120 other volunteers who really are the backbone of our Ronald McDonald Houses. That's how they started, with a family whose child was in the hospital in Philadelphia, and the father was a football player, and one of the doctors in the hospital said, we need a place for families to stay. Families have got to be able to stay together during these illnesses, otherwise they fall apart.
Why the name Ronald McDonald? What is McDonald's, how do they come into play here?
How did that all happen? Well, first of all, the regional people of McDonald's took an interest in this and helped fund it. And ultimately, Ray Kroc and his wife have done a lot to help start the 300 Ronald McDonald Houses around the world. The McDonald's Corporation supplies all of the central office staff out in Oak Brook, Illinois, and they support us by giving conferences, leadership conferences, board governance. They're really training stewardship of the organization on a staff level, on a board level, and we all exchange best practices on the intranet and so on and so forth, so that everyone's preoccupied with how do we help families through the most difficult time of their lives, through the most traumatic time of their lives.
You need it a lot. So the house in New Haven, Connecticut, you've outgrown it.
I think so.
You're in the middle of a capital campaign, and we have a shot of the new Ronald McDonald House that you are building, which will be near Yale New Haven Hospital. Tell me about it.
The hospital has been fantastic. The Children's Hospital has donated land across the street so that families can leave the children's bedside and go and spend the night or get a shower, do whatever they need to do to refresh themselves. The house is going to be, right now it's 12 bedrooms, that 30-year-old house on George Street has really, it's time to move on. So we're going to start out with 18 beds and 2 respite rooms for people who just want to come across the street for a short while. And it will go in 3 phases. We'll ultimately have 42 beds. And the reason for that is that the Yale New Haven Children's Hospital is expanding rather dramatically over the next 5 to 10 years. It's going to triple in size.
Well, the whole hospital itself is the 4th largest in the country now. Give me a story of how this has helped a family. Because when you're distraught, you have a child who's having a transplant or cancer or whatever it is, you're out of town, where do you go? Give me some stories about how important this place is.
Well, I was sitting in the dining room of the house. The heart of the house is the living room, the dining room, the kitchen. And often families are in there exchanging stories, and moms and dads who have been there for 2 weeks or 3 weeks are helping out a new family that's scared to death, scared their child is going to die, or scared that the diagnosis is going to be terminal or something like that. I was sitting there talking to somebody, and I don't often wear my coat and tie.
You're more relaxed.
There, much more relaxed if I can be, but if I have a meeting with a donor or something, I'm very different. At any rate, I was talking away, and some man sort of wandered over, and he was almost in tears, and he began talking, saying, I don't know who to thank. Can I thank you? And I said, you can thank me, but it's really not me. I mean, this place is for everyone, and you're really welcome. And he said, but I've got to tell you something. I lost my job with General Dynamics out in New London on July 29th. 3 days later, my wife found out she was pregnant. And last month, she had 2 premature birth babies, both of whom were going to be special needs kids. We don't have a penny. And we were told about you, and we came here and we didn't know what to expect. And everybody has been so wonderful. How do I thank you? And you know, you want to break out in tears. This happens all the time, and it's why so many people want to be part of the house, because I don't know whether I could handle it. You look at yourself and you say, could I handle what some of these families are going through month in and month out if it's a transplant child or whatever? So we have stories every day.
Some of these families have stayed with you a year.
Oh, absolutely. The transplant children could often take a year to go through the cycle of diagnosis, operation, rejection or not rejection, and so on. And so they have to be under observation. What better place to do it? What would happen if they had to be in their hospital bed for 6 months, 8 months, a year? That's crazy. Rather, they can be with their family in the house, and the kids can be chasing each other around.
And have some comforts of home.
Have comforts of home.
What can people do to help you build this new place?
The greatest thing they can do is to contact us, either online, rmhc-ctma.org, Ronald McDonald House. They're going to find us. To call the house at 777-5683.
You need volunteers, I'm assuming.
We always need volunteers.
And what do they do?
Well, they check families in. They will take the kids for a while mom just gets a break. They'll help bring in supplies, toys. We get endless donations of food and toys, and we have groups come in and cook. You know, team building exercises. They decide they're going to do something good. They come in and they cook dinner, or they rake leaves, or they help clean the house, because the house has to be incredibly clean for the children who are immunosuppressed from their surgeries or something.
In building a new Ronald McDonald House here in New Haven, what are tangible things that you need?
The most important thing we need is donations. We need people to step up and name rooms. We can name a bedroom for the next 98 years after a family or a business or in memory of. You know, it's a lot of money. $11.2 million structure.
And how far are you?
Well, we need to raise 3.7 just to get a bank loan, and we're $1 million away. So every penny is going to count. We're moving into the community phase of our campaign, and we don't need just the $25,000 or the $100,000 donors, which are few and far between, but would be wonderful. We're really looking to involve many more people in the community, to buy bricks, to buy, to just make a donation. Everyone will be recognized on a wall, sort of a rock-strewn wall that'll have names of people who've donated.
And helping people you don't even know, which feels pretty good.
Which is what lifts the families up. The families know that other people are pitching in. It's not coming from, I'm not giving them, food and so on. People are. Restaurants, families, supermarkets. We get bread deliveries of like 100 loaves when there's too much bread around or something. So it brings out the best in people, and it makes them feel good. The volunteers love it. I know volunteers who've been coming in for 30 years.
Final question. How has becoming executive director of the Ronald McDonald House changed you? Or has it?
It's humbling. Humbling every day of the week. One day I think I'm really on top of things and we're really doing well with the capital campaign or whatever, and the next day we have a setback. Well, that's what the families are going through, except they're on a much more profound level. And I'm humbled by the gentleman from New London or the family from Puerto Rico who has nothing and asks for nothing. We get them gift cards, or we get them, something to Walgreens gift card or something for food.
It means
for
a lot.
It means a lot, and they say thank you in such wonderful ways just by being great people. So it's very humbling for me.
Stocky Clark, thank you so much for
Hey,
coming
Ann.
on.
Thanks for having
Ronald
me.
McDonald House, help them out.
Thank you.
Made a trivial pursuits when one this in. Who is this girl? Spend all night kissing, and if one was right here, then who else is missing? Got a little sidetracked if I'm so wishing to find the keys to the door, but it's also a metaphor. Need to keep locked in the grocery store of my mind, just to save time. Skip right ahead to the last ride. The harder we look, the less we can see. Don't you know, you know, you know that you need me.